from the report that their rights were infringed on by one of their own or others. I was a member of the Jamaica Constabulary Force as a detective constable, and the last station I worked at was Hunts Bay Police Station, Kingston 11. So when I'm talking, I can do so because I have experience and I can address the subject at hand with clarity. Oh, so the Jamaican police are the most hated government workers in Jamaica, whose jobs are to protect the Jamaican people. But who is protecting or looking out for their welfare? Not a single person with power, influence, or fortitude in or out of government. Since I was growing up in Jamaica, the criminals have always had echo chambers, propaganda machines, politicians, uptowners, and elitists who are always supporting them because it suits them and their business, also their counterparts. The platform, Quattroy, is not an advocate for Jamaican criminals or terrorists. It is for law-abiding Jamaicans, citizens, and decent police officers. The depressed communities in Jamaica are filled with hostages. The residents, they are hostages by the so-called dons, area leaders, and their henchmen who operate like Gestapos. The criminals are the unelected lawmakers and mini-government within the community and decided how the community operates. Yes, I know that there are criminals in the police force, and I am not under any illusion about that. And I hope they are kicked out of the force. I have listened and read various pundits, naysayers, and know-it-alls in Jamaica give their talking points on the police force and what needs to do and this and that, and how corrupt the Jamaica Constabulary Force and its members. The same people who are responsible for the corruption in the police force are calling the police force corrupt because they know that some lackey in khaki uniform have done their bidding for them. Maybe it's transferring a police officer for writing one of their friends a traffic ticket. A baker cannot operate on someone who is suffering from cancer or hernia. Only a doctor can. So how comes in Jamaica people who have never worn the uniform of the Jamaican Constabulary Force are given their expert advice when they have no experience? This is madness, nonsensical, and stupidity at its best. The main reason I'm using this forum is to reach the people globally. It is because most people do not read or love to read. And I know that a majority of Jamaican people at home or in the diaspora won't watch or listen because it is nothing to do with some stupidity about people's life that tickle their fancy. I am not about that. I am about law and order. As a born Jamaican, I do not know, I have the slightest idea that our country is a place that produces, promotes, cultivates, revere, and celebrates criminals. Murderers, robbers, shooters, extortionists, rapists are the people that the Jamaican government of the day in Jamaica support. It has been going on since before I was born. It is a part of the culture, consciously and subconsciously. Look at the data that has happened to our citizens who have been deported to Jamaica from other countries. Jamaica has the highest numbers of deportees in the Caribbean, and it is because they do not want to obey the laws in other people's countries. And it is the fault of the Jamaican government over the years. Ponder into these illiterate, lazy, socialist, criminal-minded, and parasitic people there for votes to gain power. You cannot be a superstar, politician, or someone who the people will revere, love, celebrated by the Jamaican people if you are not a police hater, basher, antagonist, and known hatred towards the police. If you echo anything showing that you are pro law enforcement, your career is over. Former Minister and Member of Parliament Damien Crawford of the PNP party echoed his support for the police, and his party sidelined such sentiments by replacing him with one of the former known political gangsters' daughter. He is the first politician in my lifetime ever to denounce criminality, and he was put in his place by the uptowners and politicians in Jamaica. Then Mr. Lambert Brown and known criminal attorney Valorinita Robertson of the PNP have come out supporting the police force. So far, 3 members of the PNP party have shown their support for the police and the rule of law. Not a single member of the Jamaica Labour Party. So, 3. The Jamaicans who are not criminals or turn to crimes is not luck. It has to do with parental guidance, the community you live, and the people who are in your circle. Subconsciously, those of us who support the rule of law are seen as foreigners because that is not what is planted in the psyche subconsciously and consciously of the people in Jamaica. If you visit Jamaica and you are driving, you will encounter bicyclists riding on the wrong side of the road, passengers in public and private vehicles throwing rubbish through the window and litter the road. And the police are impotent to enforce the laws because if they do, they are doing it at their own peril. At the stoplights, they are young able-bodied men who are there with a plastic bottle of water ready to spray on your windshield. Whether you ask for their services or not, they demand money from the motorist. And if you refuse to give them any money, worse, if the driver is female, they will attack you. And if the police intervene, the police are the ones who get in trouble. As a young man at the tender age of 17 years old and 1 month, I was at the Jamaica Police Academy, training as a police cadet until I attained the age of 18 years and 1 day. I spent closer to 20 months at the Jamaica Police Academy, training. When I was in training, Ronald Reagan was the President of the United States of America, and the Right Honorable Edward Seaga was the Prime Minister of Jamaica. The love for the police force and what it stood for, why I left high school to be at an institution which was one of the best, and the funding came from the American government. When I was there, I remember the white men from the FBI who would teach courses at the Jamaican Police Academy to the cream of the crop detectives in Jamaica. That is something of the past. Since 1989, when the PNP came into power, that has been shelved. No more training for the Jamaican detectives. Upon graduation from the Jamaican Police Academy, I have worked several divisions: Clarendon, St. Elizabeth, St. Andrew South. The best division to me was St. Andrew South, not because it is in the city, but I felt at home with the people in my police division because I know how their psychic work. So I was very effective working in the garrison. The reason why I'm coming out after all these years, it is because the support for the criminals in Jamaica have reached a level that I have never seen or witnessed before. The criminals have media houses, the women, the communities that harbored, nurtured, support, and produced these parasites also have friends in high places in Jamaica. Yes, I have done very well for myself since I have left the police force, and I'm happy that I left because of the things I have achieved educationally and career-wise. My reasons are that the Jamaica Constabulary Force is my first taste of higher education, esprit de corps, family, and most of all, love for what I used to do, and I am not like the others who do not care about others who they left behind in the most ungrateful job in Jamaica, being a police officer. As a police officer, I know how it feels to go to work and have to borrow money from relatives to pay my bus here to go to work. I know how it feels to eat bola and drink sweetened condensed milk as my Sunday dinner, when others at their homes are eating rice and peas and chicken. I know how it feels to get paid today and tomorrow I am broke and I am at the Jamaica Police Credit Union in Mr. Ray Palmer's office pitching one of my best stories why I need a loan to buy food for the rest of the month. I know how it feels like to call my family members and friends overseas to send money to me through Western Union. I know how it feels to work on public holidays and in the nights and others are home celebrating and having a great time with their family. I know how it feels to be working in the sun and the vehicle without air conditioning. The environment is hot. You can taste the heat from outside. After all my years in the police force, witnessing the attack on the police force, from the politicians, the criminal elitists, upturners, criminal rights advocates, and the destructive elements whose main goal is to destroy Jamaica by making it the face of criminality in the Caribbean Sea. Go figure it out. Since May 2010, Jamaica has fallen into the abyss when it comes to criminality and the protection of them by those with powers within the island and those who are getting filth of the carnage and killings. The Jamaica Labour Party, under the leadership of the Bruce Golding administration, have declared war against the American government and the Jamaican Constabulary Force for the extradition of their main strongman, Christopher Dudley. Yes, Jamaica have declared war against the American government. The Department of Justice, headed by then Attorney General Eric Holder and the Obama administration. The war is ongoing and Incompetent is a vendetta against the police force for assisting the American government in bringing in Christopher Dudley to justice in America. The following Jamaicans are enemy of the United States government, U.S. Department of Justice, Federal Bureau Investigation, CIA, and the American people. Also the poor, illiterate Jamaicans and the Jamaican Constabulary Force. The Jamaica Labour Party government led by St. Andrew Holiness and all its members of parliament. The PMP party led by Dr. Peter Phillips and all of its members of parliament, except the other three members of the PMP who have came out and supporting law enforcement and denouncing Incompetent, the brainchild of the criminals in Jamaica. Dr. Caroline Gomes, Lloyd Aguilar, Minister of Injustice Delroy Chuck, the Criminal Rights Agency, Amnesty International, Incompetent, Terence Williams, and a plethora of criminal rights agency, not to mention. As a man who understands micromanagement, microeconomics, and microeconomics, if some people within Jamaica society who have influence, connection, and immense wealth and weren't benefiting from the carnage, extortions, robberies, shootings, and murders in Jamaica, there would not be so much lobby groups pretending to be human rights agency within the government and outside of the government, looking out for murderers and not the victims of criminality. Their actions show that there is no other entity or government agency in Jamaica that have been under sustained attack from 1970s until now, like the Jamaica Constabulary Force. The only time the police were able to operate in a way that the criminals would live in fear was in the 1980s. Yes, when the most hated man who was Prime Minister of Jamaica, Edward Seaga, the born American of Jamaican parentage. I am not a political activist, and I am not a fan of either party in Jamaica because they have destroyed the communities and lives of the Jamaican people by keeping them illiterate, fools, and hungry. Jamaican people do not know that their true enemies are the Jamaican politicians, especially St. Andrew Holness and the Jamaican Labour Party that have declared war against the Jamaican Constabulary Force and America for the extradition of their strongman Christopher Dudley to the American shores. The Jamaican Labour Party could not declare war on the American government, literally or explicit, for extraditing their Don, Christopher Dudley. So they declare it on the Jamaican police force for assisting the American FBI by enacting a law called Incompetent to the fore as a buffer between the police and the criminals, which is an agency to protect the Jamaican criminal and persecute the Jamaican police. The only group that is winning the war is the criminals because they can kill without worrying about repercussion from the police. In America, the police, don't play with murderers. They will kill them one way or the other if they resist arrest and threaten the lives of the police. The Prime Minister and his friends uptown gave the Jamaican populace a soldier to be Commissioner of Police. As a former police officer, I know that Mr. Henderson has a dirty little secret. Deep down, he knows and feels like a complete fraud because he has no law enforcement experience or accomplishments. The result of serendipitous luck, political affiliation, and nepotism why he is in the job that he is not qualified to do or fit to even sit in the chair. There are several members in the Jamaica Constabulary Force whose experience as law enforcement officers and educational background is superior to the current Prime Minister, members of Parliament, elitists, and Mr. Anthony Anderson. How on God's earth he is given a job to do that he has no business or experience doing at any stage of his life? The man is an inadequate and incompetent failure, despite evidence that indicates he is skilled and quite successful in the Jamaica Constabulary Force, but not as a police officer, but a paper tiger in the army and a coffee boy for the Prime Minister of Jamaica. Only in Jamaica a soldier can be the Commissioner of Police. What kind of madness is this? And he does not have the first requisite to be a police officer because he has no certification as a law enforcement officer. The level of disrespect by these bossy slaves, politicians, elitists, keep showing towards our men and women of the Jamaican Constabulary Force. It is wretched, disgusting, and hateful. As a Jamaican and a former member of the Jamaican Constabulary Force, I am begging, appealing, beseeching, and allure every member of the Jamaica Constabulary Force not to support, encourage this man, Major Anthony Anderson, as the new Commissioner of Police. I do not know the man or have anything against him, but I do believe that he is not a fit person to be leading the Jamaican Constabulary Force because he has no experience in that field. Whom their right man would hire an electrician to do mechanical repairs to their luxury car, or a baker to do plumbing work in their house. An electrician has to train and gain experience through the years to do his job. Maybe the car electrical system is giving problem, but you would not want an electrician to work on your car. A mechanic is a right person. You would hire the baker. You would not hire the baker to do plumbing work unless he's going to use dough to seal any leaking in the house. But he is not capable of repairing the pipe fittings in the house. Major Anderson must not get any support from members of the Jamaica Constabulary Force, irrespective of their rank. My experience as a former member of the Jamaica Constabulary Force, Mr. Anderson cannot emphasize, because what I am saying is foreign to his ears, and he did not want to be a police officer. So why now, after attaining the age of 64 years old, and no member of the Jamaica Constabulary Force are allowed to serve past the age of 60 years old. So why is this man over 60 years old is the commissioner of the police? Is there any waiver in the Constabulary Force Acts that give them the right to put him there? Why do the Police Federation not take the PSC to court for installing a retiree as Commissioner of Police who have no law enforcement experience? If this man succeed on your dimes, you guys can kiss the chair as the next Commissioner of Police goodbye, because they're gonna reserve it for their friends uptown and those who are not members of the police force, or someone who they think can be their lackeys and someone who they can control. But they could not control Mr. Quayler because he was a police commissioner of police. God bless him for his service to Jamaica. Look what happened the other day when the Prime Minister, St. Andrew Holiness, was trying to use a slick Rick trick on the Chief Justice of Jamaica. Did you see the solidarity of the judges in Jamaica? Also the PNP party? Yes, it is because news on the street that the chair was reserved for a certain woman minister who is a member of the cabinet, and the Jamaican judges decided they do not going to have it one iota. Not this time around. No outsiders or political appointee. Why could the police not unite like the judges? There are too many ideologues in the police force who are more political and diarted political activists in uniform. Some of them who are not JLP or PMP, they are PIP, party in powers. Those are the most dangerous police, and some of them are going to sell out their colleagues to the soldier who is not a police officer. The Jamaican government hatred for the police is affecting the populace, investors, and the Jamaica Constabulary Force. So the Jamaican people must retaliate against the government of the day by demonstrating, lobby your politician, or write letter and send it to the current American President Donald Trump. Since the inception of Indicom, the attacks and murders of American citizens in Jamaica have skyrocketed because the criminals know that the Jamaican government have declared war against the American government and its people. Yes, I am a born Jamaican, and I am telling it like it is. And those who do not like to hear the truth, too bad. The two American missionaries that were murdered in St. Mary by a man who is affiliated to one of the political parties in Jamaica. The killing of the American tourists have skyrocketed. Bing or Google Jamaican media, and you will see how many Americans are murdered in Jamaica since May 2010. The Jamaican police officers are the only police officers in the world. Whenever they encountered criminals in shootouts, it is mandatory for them to give a statement immediately to Indicom by law. They do not have or enjoy the same rights the criminals have under the Constitution of Jamaica. Although the police, survive a stressful situation of life and death, they are forced by their government to give statement, and they must find money to get an attorney to represent them with this agency. That is all about persecuting the Jamaican police for the extradition of one man who is convicted in the United States of America, Christopher Dudley Coke, a Jamaica Labour Party known activist, enforcer, and Don, also known as President. In America, the police officers are treated with respect, love, and they are revered by the rich, political class, elitists, and middle class, and a majority of the poor. If the American President Donald Trump and the American people realize that the war against the police force in Jamaica is, in fact, a war against America, they would respond accordingly with their economic might and power. I know for a fact that heads will certainly roll in Jamaica, and in the end, all the anti-police activists will be put out of work, and economic boycotts and financial investigation against them would proceed. These people are enemies of the United States of America, the Department of Justice, the FBI, the poor, illiterate, obnoxious, angry Jamaicans and members of the Jamaican Constabulary Force. Jamaica is a criminal's paradise in the Caribbean Sea, and the good people can turn that tide and bring it back to the days when Jamaica was an habitable place where people could walk in peace without the fear of being robbed, raped, and murdered by these parasites who have support from people who are in high places. Good day, God bless, and all the best to you. No love for criminals. I make enough mistake? Wally? Well, at least I try, man, I try.